My name is Chris Weis. I'm the co-host of the show Humanity Matters. And now I'm going to introduce the tape rule 1, Battle Cry of Freedom, Albert and Cast, and Albert Torcaso. So can we please go to tape rule 1?
Shouting the battle cry of freedom, the Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitors, up with the stars, while we rally round the flag, boys, rally once again. Shouting the battle cry of freedom. We are springing to the call of our brothers gone before, shouting the battle cry of freedom, and we'll fill our vacant ranks with 1,000,000 free men more, shouting the battle cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitors, up with the stars, while we rally round the flag, boys, rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. We will welcome to our numbers the loyal, true, and brave, shouting the battle cry of freedom. And although they may be poor, not a man shall be a slave, shouting the battle cry of freedom. So we're springing to the call from east and from the west, shouting the battle cry of freedom, and we'll hurl that rebel crew from the land that we love best, shouting the battle cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitors, up with the stars, while we rally round the flag, boys, rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom.
Hi everyone, it's February the 18th, 2011 or 2011, and you can see I'm at the podium, and as some of you have recalled in the past that sometimes I act like I've been to church, I act like I'm a preacher, and sure enough I said, you know, I want to do a little bit of preaching, but at the same time I said I could easily point out the faults of a lot of disingenuous people, some who claim to be, well, let's just say, I won't even go that far, but claim to be something that they're not. And of course, many of you come to tune in because you like how I stick up for and defend the rights of all, and I fight for the disabled American and the needs-based American, the veterans of America, and how I constantly tell you to call Congress, and we all know that number by now, 1-202-224-3121, or 1-202-225-3121. And I'm going to be letting you know when Congress does wrong, letting you know when City Council of Pittsburgh or County Council or the state legislator or the governor or the President of the United States or Congress, sorry about that, does wrong. And I'm going to continue to do that tough 120 minutes thing. And it's important and it's appropriate because there are things you learn on our show, hopefully, that you won't get anywhere else because for whatever reason, other media outlets will not actually cover it. And so we're going to continue that. And I thought, well, maybe I could come up here and kind of lambaste the Republican Congress for the fact that they voted to repeal the Affordable Health Care Act and that they're doing everything they can to repeal that both on the federal and state levels. And I could point out that it's helping people and how it's helping. And, of course, you all come to expect that. But I said, you know what? The problem is, yes, we need to change government for the better. I said, but there's a problem there. You're giving the people and ourselves a lot of hope, but you're not really giving somebody sitting at home tonight on February the 18th an immediate solution to their problem. So let me look at my notes, even though I have this stigmatism and I have a mouth problem going on right now. But at any rate, let me quickly mention some things. But I want you to do something in the meantime. If you have a DVD recorder, a VCR recorder, or an ink pen, or a way to record what I'm about to say, I want you to get that pen or start taping this show, because by the time I am done here and before I go back to the panel, I'm going to reveal something to you that's going to immediately, possibly immediately, say, affect your life for the better. But first, let me be El Torcaso of old, the guy who kicks potatoes and does not care about whose potatoes I'm kicking, because that's important too. I want to point out that I have here speak about how our nation has not ever lived up to what its great Constitution and Bill of Rights or the speeches of presidents have said and declared that our nation is and or stands for. We have a great Constitution, and we have a magnificent Bill of Rights with all 14 amendments. And when you read the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights and these wonderful things, or the speeches of Abraham Lincoln, if you really study it, you think, wow, I love living in that country. But yet, the reality is that we haven't lived up to it. All men are created equal. Not true. We had slavery for more than 200 and some years. It wasn't until eventually 1863 when we got rid of physical slavery. So all men were created equal, but not all people were considered men. And what about children? And what about women? They were considered property. So we're magnificent men, but they too had made mistakes. Now, I here again to speak about how our nation's leaders, as well as our system of government, deny many Americans their constitutional rights to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. I wrote that down because, again, referring to the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence, it says we have our certain inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But yet, if you look at the needs-based disabled American or needs-based Americans that get certain needs-based Social Security, SSI, disability, or what have you, their rights, as well as mine, are being constitutionally taken away. And we may get into that. But basically, when I will cut it short with respect to this, when I say our rights are being really taken away, if you are needs-based, you're not allowed to have any wealth over $2,000 in certain limits, depending on what type of program you're on, or $10,000. So what that means is that right from the start, if you are unfortunate enough to have to be needs-based, you're essentially told you're not allowed to have a future. You cannot have a Roth IRA. You cannot have money to save for a rainy day or a rainy night. And essentially, it takes away our constitutional rights. It takes away our happiness. And frankly, it takes away our hope. But it does something else. Even if you're not a needs-based American, disabled American, and you're thinking, well, I don't care, it doesn't affect me. Yes, it does. You see, a lot of the reasons why our taxes are so high is that there are many people who are talented enough that eventually, if they had the opportunities and the eligibilities and being allowed, many of the people who are needs-based would no longer need the money because they'd be able to go out, start a corporation, maybe get a special kind of job, what have you. But our system does not allow for that. So I could talk about that, and I have a little bit. And I'll probably wait until I get to the panel for the rest of this. But I cannot wait. I cannot wait any longer. I'm going to come out with it. Whether you are a needs-based disabled American or a working American or an unemployed American, most Americans to this day, February the 18th, 2011 or 2011, most Americans, my friends, are slaves. Yes, I said that terrible word. Not in the sense, in the horrendous ways that our nation allowed to happen to a people back in the day, but we are all slaves in many, many ways. And one of the main ways is financial. If we look at how most Americans live in lower paid jobs, working lower paid jobs, and they will frequently make the statement, I'm overworking, or I'm working to pay my bills. And therein lies the problem, my friends. Therein lies the problem. That is not what the Constitution promised. Didn't say that you were supposed to have a life of servitude. Didn't say you were supposed to work to pay your bills. Now, do not make a mistake here. I am not saying that you shouldn't pay your bills and be a layabout. No. But your life should give you should have more opportunity to, maybe you are extremely poor, but you should be able to eventually work your way up to poverty, if you're under poverty, if you're below poverty, and literally work your way up from poverty, extreme poverty, eventually to poverty, then to middle class, then the upper middle class. You should be able to continuously move up. The idea that most people survive by paycheck to paycheck is not the American dream. So, real quickly, before I go back to we'll go over to the panel, I'm here to do something about it. I'm not going to tell you that you're a slave and leave you stay in servitude. And I'm not a preacher, and I don't proselytize, but I do believe in a higher power. So this part is going to be a little bit preachy for a split second. Inasmuch as this, I believe in a higher power. I don't usually talk about all that much on my show, but I do. Do you really think that the higher power that you believe in, if you believe in one, wants you to work your entire life and then have nothing to show for it, and then have suffered all your life? No. No. And we want to bring this Constitution to life. And that's going to take you, and that's going to take me. But here's the part that you need to record. I'm going to get right into it. Instead of telling you that you have a broken window, and instead of telling you how to fix that window, the newest element revealed for the first time ever live, February the 18th, 2011, is this. I'm working on writing an ebook, or maybe a real book, that will work to get the poorest among us to start to gain wealth. And let me make no mistake. Let there be no confusion or mistake. This plan that I'm about to reveal part of, it may not make you wealthy for a very long time. It may never make you wealthy, but it will make you wealthier. Maybe by $5 a year. But who among you would not accept $5? If you would not accept $5, let me know why, because I certainly would.